If there is one team that kept us entertained throughout the summer break, that has to be Alpine. The Enstone-based team has messed up their driver lineup, and from having a two-time world champion and an F3 and F2 champion on the sidelines waiting to replace the former, they lost both of them in just a matter of days. However, life goes on and so does Alpine. The team has scored decent points in recent races. Although they missed out on points in Monza, it's evident that they still have the upper hand on McLaren and are leading them in the Constructors' Championship as we speak. On top of that, the sporting director of Alpine, Alpine, talked about the team's chances of scoring points again in Singapore and reflected on the Monza GP performance. In this video, we're going to talk about Alpine's testing in Hungaroring and what drivers will take place in the Alpine's car in Hungaroring. Don't go anywhere, as we're about to talk a lot about Alpine. Alpine is a team that is currently sitting in P4 in the Constructors' Championship, and they are looking strong when it comes to keeping this place in the following 6 races. What's even more promising for the team is that they've seemed to let go of Piastri and his betrayal and are now looking to sign another talent in their seat. But before we speak about that, let's say why Alpine didn't score points in Monza and struggled a lot throughout the whole weekend. It was an unusual weekend, we must say. Both Alpine cars were nowhere to be found in the points, with Alonso even retiring due to engine problems. On top of that, Ocon wasn't able to climb the ladder as he did in Spa when he took an engine penalty and lined up at the back of the grid. For things to be worse than them, both of the McLaren cars were running in points, and only Norris finished P7 while Ricciardo retired in the last laps of the race, and the difference to Alpine wasn't cut as much as one would have hoped for with how the race was unwinding down. According to the sporting director Alpine, Monza's showing was just a one-off, and for the next race in Singapore, Alpine will be much more competent and stronger due to the low-speed nature of the track. He believes that the track will be more suitable for Alpine and that the team will deliver a very different picture to this GP. For sure, 100% it's an outlier. We've got a new floor coming from Singapore, which has got a massive step of downforce. We'll be back where we should be, and we're really looking forward to there, and especially Suzuka with this car. It's going to be fun, said Permain. However, although Monza was expected to not suit Alpine as much, Permain said that the team didn't expect such a big deficit in the race, especially after they were so competitive at the long-drag Spa-Francorchamps circuit last month. We didn't expect to struggle. I thought we would be okay. We ran absolutely fine on Friday, and that's the tricky thing. That's what we don't understand. Long run with no DRS, so really using your full drag, we looked alright. Quicker than McLaren and quicker than all the people that we were racing. Certainly, we were not as quick as the top 3 cars, but it didn't look like there were any major dramas. We were definitely a bit high on the draggy side, but we figured that was the quickest way around here, and that's where we raced. But I think we genuinely struggled for pace a little bit. We struggled in qualifying. Both drivers said they made mistakes, which is uncharacteristic, so clearly the car was difficult to drive. In the race, we didn't have the pace, and we didn't have the pace that we had on Friday afternoon. On Friday afternoon, Fernando ran the medium tyre and thought it was fantastic. He was quick. I think he was lapping mid-26s with full tanks, and we couldn't get anywhere near that on Sunday. So we've got some work to do to try and understand what's going on, finished Permain. Rest assured that it's going to be a difficult fight between McLaren and Alpine, and although both of the teams are very close in the championship, it seems like Alpine does have the upper hand in the fight versus McLaren. In 2020, McLaren won the 3rd place in the championship, while in 2021 they were 4th. In 2022, they are fighting for the 4th, but it's very likely that they'll end up 5th if all things are to be believed when it comes to pure race pace. This was also said by Norris and the technical director of McLaren, James Key. James said that the car is not as versatile as it was in 2021, which is something that is affecting the performance of both drivers a lot. On top of that, they are currently dealing with Ricciardo's problem, who, with 6 races to go, has only 19 points of McLaren's 107 points. It's been a rollercoaster ride we didn't expect, and obviously we're not enjoying it when we hit the more difficult circuits. I think, to be honest, there's actually been a range of things here, so certainly the car has been stronger at some events than others, stronger Monaco, Australia, Imola, weak at others. We had a very difficult Canada. I'm dismissing the first race because there are other problems associated with that. Some of it's a learning process, but I suppose the versatility in terms of consistency really isn't quite there, said James Key during the summer break. On top of this, McLaren's #1 driver Lando Norris spoke about the car's performance and that it's currently overperforming, so everything that they are achieving at the moment is a huge plus for them. He also spoke about the car being built around him, as he added, "I don't think you can probably in any way say the car is made around me. From what I want from the car, it's like the opposite of what it's giving me at the minute. And yeah, I would say the car I have now is completely not what I want for my driving style and very unsuited for me. It's not a bad thing, it's just that's what it is, and you have to adapt to it. That's why I feel like I've done a reasonable job this year, adapting to something that is not quite what I want or like. That's one of the improvements I've made over the last few years," finished Norris. So now that we've elaborated on all of McLaren's problems and given insights into Alpine's chances of finishing P4 in the Constructors' Championship, let's talk a bit about the driver that is supposed to replace Fernando Alonso. As we mentioned earlier in this video, the team has let go of Piastri and is now looking to sign another driver, possibly one with more experience, but also one that can grow and learn with the team. They had the perfect candidate with Gasly, and although this isn't a broken deal yet since the FIA still hasn't said anything regarding Herta's super license, it's very likely that the governing body won't grant Herta with a super license and that Gasly won't be released from AlphaTauri. That way, Alpine would have to look in another way when it comes to a driver, which is why they've scheduled a test for 4 drivers and one of them was supposed to be Herta. However, he called off the testing, quite possibly because he doesn't believe that the super license will be granted to him and there is no need for him to waste their time and invest hope in a dead cause. Nevertheless, Alpine called 4 drivers to the test, and they are Duhan, who is currently an F2 and is having a pretty decent season while being signed under Alpine's academy, and De Vries, who is coming off an amazing debut with Williams, scoring 2 points in his debut, Hülkenberg and Giovinazzi, who have been linked with Haas but are also looking out for other opportunities if presented to them. According to Laurent Rossi, Alpine CEO, the perfect candidate would be more than willing to grow with the team, but also one with experience. With that being said, among these 4 drivers, Giovinazzi and Hülkenberg stand the biggest chance of being signed to the French team. Both of them are looking to make a comeback in the sport and are more than willing to prove to the F1 world that they are still made out of F1 material. When talking about the replacement, Rossi said, "We need to find a driver that's capable of scoring big points right away. This basically leads us towards a more senior driver, if you will, but at the same time, that is capable to grow with us. So those are the criteria we use at the moment." Otmar is leading the process, seeing all of the drivers, discussing with them, assessing options, assessing them here, potentially assessing them in tests. So I guess it's going to be a process that is going to last a little bit. "We want to make the right decision and there's no hurry," finished Rossi. Giovinazzi also spoke about his possible tenure in F1 yet again after setting out the 2022 season, after he's been replaced with Joe, who seems to do an excellent job in the team. "I want to be here next year for sure, it's not a secret, but it's not in my hands. So let's see what we can do, and for now, I focus on doing a great job in these 2 sessions. One is over, now we have another one," finished Giovinazzi. With that being said, it's more than evident that there is a busy period ahead of Alpine. The team is looking forward to sign a driver that will have some pretty big shoes to fill, those of Alonso. What do you think will happen next with Alpine? Do you think that they have what it takes in order to beat McLaren for the P4 in the Constructors' Championship? And what do you think the future holds for the team regarding the 2023 season? Let us know in the comments below.